Wow, 2 million views. That's a lot. Hi, I'm Max, and if you're watching this, you may have seen this video.
Remember me.
Well, this is how I made it. It all started back in June. This guy DM'd me on Instagram and he told me he needed my help. He had a fairly sizable following on TikTok, so I was like, hey, what's up? He said he needed somebody to create a realistic Spider-Man swinging animation for him in the 3D software Blender. Of course, he was willing to pay me. And seeing how I'm the upstanding citizen that I am, well, I wanted to help. But there was one small problem. I've never actually used Blender before, and I don't have any real experience with 3D character animation, other than this shit I did when I was 16, which doesn't really fit the criteria of realistic. Clearly I was completely underqualified and frankly, out of my depth for a project like this. So of course I did the right thing, and I told him I'd do it. He gave me 1 week to get back to him with the finished shot. And I thought everything would go off without a hitch. Until I sat down to work on it and remembered that I had no idea what I was doing whatsoever. Not a very good position to be in when you have a deadline. Thankfully, I was saved when I discovered that Peter France from over at Quarter Digital made a 3-part tutorial series covering this exact topic. I've included a link to it in the description below if you want to check it out and make your own Spider-Man swinging animation. Through Peter France's teachings, I was able to complete the shot, which I think turned out pretty cool, and I guess so did the client since he paid me for it. And by the way, I got paid for simply following a YouTube tutorial, which I guess means the moral of the story is
visual effects are easy.
My success doing Spider-Man related visual effects awakened something within me. I now thought I had the power to make a whole film. And that's how the unnamed loose VFX concept Spider-Man short film was born. Working title. In order to complete this film, I was gonna have to write a script, which I did not do. But I was able to round up some friends to shoot some stuff for this project. And it went surprisingly well.
Good job.
So now, all that was left was the post-production work. And as we all know,
Visual effects are easy.
take an animation rendered in Google Earth Studio, mix in some VFX magic, now you got an aerial shot, add in a helicopter, now it's a helicopter aerial shot. Got a shot of your actor putting on a shitty Spider-Man mask? Bang! Now it looks less shitty. Bag thrown at a wall? Pow! Now it's webbed to the wall. Need to have your actor leap off of a roof? Do it in CG and photoscan the roof. You want your actor to defy physics and run on the side of a building?
It's easy.
Okay, but in reality, VFX isn't actually that easy. In fact, it's actually super hard. I spent days meticulously scrutinizing over all the teeny tiny little details in every single frame of every single shot in order to ensure its absolute perfection.
Easy.
In order to successfully complete my vision for the film, it was extremely important I got one particular aspect of it right. Jamie Foxx, returning as Electro.
Remember me.
I went about 2 methods of pulling this off. The first method was to very confidently go outside and film some background plates of NYC buildings. I then threw together a crude model of Electro which I tracked into my footage and chucked into the sky. This worked very well for wide shots, but didn't hold up at all on close-ups. Because of this, the second method was a little trickier. I've used it before to make Superman face off against Dr. Manhattan. It essentially involves cutting out an actor from a movie scene and compositing it into your footage. The catch is being able to find a scene that is both convincing and fits your vision. I spent days scavenging through Mr. Fox's filmography to find the perfect shot of his beautiful face. Because of this, I now know more about that man than I ever wanted or needed to know. Eventually, I stumbled upon it. The perfect shot, tucked away in a scene from Edgar Wright's Baby Driver. Then it was just a matter of cutting out his face, rebuilding the part of his head obscured by the headrest, then compositing him onto a digital body and background. With electricity, of course. And I'm gonna be honest, this turned out way better than I expected.
I like it a lot, Max.
Which is great since this film's success was almost entirely reliant on this being at least even a tiny bit convincing. But maybe you didn't think it was convincing. Maybe you thought it was dog shit. And if you did think it was dog shit, make sure to let me know in the comments. That footage and more, including possibly a special appearance from 2 other Spider-Men, will be in the film I'm making. So if you're interested in that, consider subscribing, and stay tuned. Max, out.